So it's early evening, Tuesday in London's always busy West End. I've just come out of the cinema from around the corner. I went to the Leicester Square View Cinema to see The House at the End of the Street. I'm sure you know about it, you may well have seen it. There have been trailers everywhere and posters everywhere. It's a horror movie starring Jennifer Lawrence, who obviously is a huge star at the moment, big box office pull, directed by Mark Tonderai, who about 4 years ago made a terrific little low-budget horror movie called Hush, which I did a blog about here at Kermode Uncut, liked it very much. But despite all the posters and the trailers, the interesting thing is the distributors decided not to show The House at the End of the Street to the critics. So I just went to see it at the cinema. And in the past, the rule always seemed to be, if the distributors don't show you a film, it's because it sucks and they're kind of embarrassed. I remember years and years ago when the Avengers came out, not Marvel Avengers, the original Avengers, and Jerry Weintraub, who used to promote Elvis concerts, was the producer of the film, and he made this big thing about we're not showing it to the press because we think the fans deserve to see it first. Everyone knew it was nonsense. It meant the film was an absolute stinker, no one else was promoting it, and everyone understood. But just went to see House at the End of the Street, and you know what? It's not terrible. It's not great. It's certainly nothing like as good as Hush, but it's not a terrible film. I have seen several worse films that have been press screened. It is, however, one of a number of films that aren't being shown to the press at the moment. A few weeks ago, the new Adam Sandler movie, That's My Boy, it was going to be press screened, and at the very last minute, they pulled the screening. I think the reason for that was that at the very last minute, they suddenly realised that they were about to show the press a comedy whose central gag was based on incest and statutory rape, and realised that it probably wasn't going to go down very well with the critics. This week, we're not going to be shown the new Resident Evil movie. I think it's called Resident Evil Retribution in 3D. Who knows, but I'll find out next week when I go along and see it in the cinema, because it's not going to be press screened. And of course, the Saw sequels for ages and ages did very well without the critics ever seeing them or writing about them. See, the interesting thing is this. There's an idea that somehow critics can damage films by giving them negative reviews, but the truth is, all reviews ever do is raise the profile of movies. Distributors understand this. If they didn't, they wouldn't show us the films. If they thought that we could damage the films, they wouldn't show them to us. In fact, in the case of a film like House at the End of the Street, it seems to me the reason they didn't show it to us was because we actually can't help it. That film just opened without reviews and it's gone straight in at number 3. Resident Evil will go top 10. No critic is needed to help it do that. As far as the Saw sequels are concerned, the fans don't need critics to tell them that it's out. They know anyway. See, we spend a lot of time worrying about whether or not criticism can actually damage films, but the fact of the matter is that a review, whether good or bad, simply tells the audience, hey, this movie is in cinemas now. And for proof of it, look at the films they don't show us. You know, distributors only ever show critics films because they think the critics can help the films whether they like them or not. The idea that critics damage movies with negative reviews is baloney. The distributors understand it. We are only there to help. And if we can't help, we don't see the films.
Brian?